Welcome to the Recruiter Elite interview series. Today's guest is Steve Desimone, head coach of the University of California men's golf team.
All right, Coach, for the first question, how does a junior golfer determine what they want out of the college experience?
That's a great question, and it's really the fundamental question. At heart, when a player is deciding which school he wants to attend, and it's always important for his parents to also answer the question. Oftentimes, the parents and the recruit, their son, don't quite see eye to eye on what that experience should be. You should ask, do I want a balance between school and golf? Do I want mostly school, less golf, maybe Division II, Division III? Or do I want Division I, and am I thinking about turning pro? And if so, how would I go about educating myself as far as the best schools to choose from? Very important to know, very important to understand that there's a great variety of schools around the country. There are those that have a great balance between school and golf, golf and school, and others that are on one side or the other. You have to do your homework. You have to visit schools. You have to do your research online and other places. And as you go through the process, and it is an educational process, hopefully you will narrow it down to 3, 4, or 5 schools. Visit those and be much more educated when it's time to make that decision.
So how do parents realistically evaluate their son or daughter's golf abilities?
Really pretty simple. You start with tournament play. It's very simple for parents, for coaches, even recruits to take a look and see how they play, compete against the best players in the country, or might be just in their neighborhood, their geographical area. But overall, tournament play is what really will determine that. For the coaches, it tells us pretty much what we want to know. But it is also enlightening for the parents and the player to see how they relate to other really good players in their area, state, national, and international competition. The more competition, the better. It gives us a much greater sample size to analyze.
Great. What's the best way a player can really differentiate himself as a junior golfer?
Well, it's part of the answer that I just gave, and that is to play in tournaments, play as well as possible. Just play, every event you can find. And when it's all over, when it's all said and done, you'll have a very good idea of just how good a player you are by how you finish. And obviously, the better the finishes, stronger the player, the better the opportunities as far as college golf, high amateur golf, and then moving on.
What would you say is the biggest adjustment going from junior golf to college golf?
Well, college golf is, for the most part, coupled with high school and very regimented situation at home. You do some traveling on weekends, you play in some tournaments, but it is nothing close to what we do in college. We elevate the amount of practice that we do. The NCAA allows us 20 hours of practice per week, 6 days a week, 4 hours a day. That's not what's going to happen in high school. When you come here, we are much more serious about the competition, and most of the players that play in the best Division I programs are looking to turn pro. This is a great way to ask yourself, is this really what I want to do the rest of my life? And am I good enough to do it? So tournament play a lot, and then we'll evaluate what those results are.
Looking at the overall college experience, what would you say the school golf balance is like at Cal?
At Cal, we truly believe in the concept of the student athlete. We believe that students, recruits, when they're here, they can do both. We recruit players, one, that want that challenge, and two, make it clear to us that they're willing to do what it takes to succeed in both. We've had a great deal of success with All-America scholars and All-Americans and all-conference players, all-region players. Many of these guys, many of our wonderful players, have they been stretched some? Yes. Has it been difficult at times? Yes. Cal will definitely challenge you, both in school and golf. But we happen to believe here that that's good, and that if you succeed here, then you will be more than prepared for whatever comes next, whether that's turning pro and moving on in the game, or whether that's moving on in the business and professional worlds that we often see some of our other players move towards.
What does it take to earn a full or partial scholarship on your team?
Well, that leads back to a couple of the other questions. And playing in tournaments, playing well, the norm is the more a player plays and the better he plays, the more likely he's going to receive a scholarship. And you can probably understand that the players that play the best are the ones that are going to corner the biggest scholarship offers as they get ready to move on from junior golf and amateur golf into college golf. It's really pretty simple. We can evaluate those numbers, you can evaluate those numbers, and in the end, we usually come up with a fair offer and something that is good for both parties.
Coach, any last words of advice for the players out there?
Yes, I think that it's very important to know, both the recruit and parents, that the decision that you make to attend a certain school, a specific school, that decision is one of, if not the most important decision a young person and a family will make. And that decision will have dramatic consequences for that young man and that family for the rest of their lives. Whether it's, do they have the success and the passion to continue to play golf and move on in the professional ranks, or do they finish their education, graduate, move on to the business and professional worlds? All of this will spin off, will be directly related to the decision to attend whatever school it is that they make. And so what I would say is, this is a decision that should take a great deal of time, a great deal of research, and you should be very careful in doing your due diligence, and before you sign the dotted line, you make sure that you've done everything you possibly can to reach out and check every variable about that school, about the coach, about the program, the young men that are in that program, and if school is an issue, to make sure you find out about the student support services for the athletes in that program. So critical if you're going to try to balance school and golf as we do here at Cal.
Great. Thank you, Coach.